Hello. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm just going to give you all a minute. Perfect. Hello, good evening, and thank you for joining us today for our Economics Career Panel. On behalf of the Career Center and our event partners, I'd just like to thank you all for taking the time to come and join us today. To our esteemed panelists, thank you for joining us at the end of a long workday. To the students that are here today, thank you for coming again at the end of a long school day as well. And just as a heads up, we do have an audience virtually today as well. So there are a number of alumni joining us via webinar in the back. The event is being recorded. So just as a heads up to all of you, so welcome to our alumni as well. In true University of Toronto Mississauga fashion, we're going to start off with a land acknowledgement. So we wish to acknowledge the land on which the University of Toronto Mississauga operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still home to many Indigenous people across Turtle Island, and we're grateful for the opportunity to work on this land. Thank you again. So we're just going to move on. So as for our agenda tonight, we're going to spend the next few minutes hearing from some key players who were integral in putting this event together today. So we're just going to spend a few minutes on opening remarks, and then we're going to move into the moderated panel where we're going to be hearing from our panelists. So right after that, we're going to have about 20 minutes that will give you the opportunity to ask your questions in a moderated Q&A. And then lastly, we're going to move into open networking where you'll get a chance to network with each of our panelists over here today. So that should take us up until about 7:50, and then we're going to close off. So first of all, to start off, I'd like to welcome Margarita Duarte, the chair of the Department of Economics, to say a few words.
All our students will find these inspiring and encouraging, and we'll show them the great possibilities that await after economics programs in the job markets. To our current students, I want to encourage you to take advantage of these events and experience, and to take the opportunity to connect with everyone that is here tonight. Finally, I also want to thank the partners that we are organizing this event with, the Office of the Advancement, UTM Career Center, and the Undergraduate Economics Council for making this possible. And so I will not take any more time, and let's just start to hear from our panelists in the program.
So we're going to move on now, and I'd like to quickly introduce one of our wonderful student staff members, Dia, from the UTM Center for UTM Career Center, and I'll let her say a few words now.
So hello, everyone. My name is Dia Gore. I'm currently in my 4th year studying at the Digital Enterprise Management program. And I have recently started working with the Career Center as a marketing and events assistant since last September. So almost a couple months for me. So at the Career Center, we're dedicated to empowering students and equipping them with skills and confidence to develop their career path. So whether you guys are in your first year or in your final years of university, we offer a variety of different workshops and skills that you guys can develop throughout our program. We also we provide different kinds of workshops for you to build your experience and craft your resume. And our services are not only strictly for navigating career paths only, we also prepare you through workshops for those of you who are considering grad school as well as further education. You may also book one-on-one appointments to have more in-depth discussions with one of our career counselors and our employment strategists. Also, you can attend events and workshops such as this one that you're in right now to navigate through many of our resources, also available on our website and throughout our workshops. I also wanted to highlight some of the Career Center achievements. So if you guys can see right over here, specifically the ones in the green stats right over here, that number 13,335, those were the amount of students that had attended our workshops throughout the previous year. So that was the previous fall and winter semester. And around 95% of those students that attended those workshops were very well satisfied with our services, as well as having their learning outcomes met. Lastly, before I end off, I just want to talk about two different events that are coming up. One of them is SOTI, which is hiring over 40 roles. So if you're a student in computer science or CCIT, software engineering, or any of the related programs, we are having an information session coming, I believe, on February 9th of this month. So you guys can join that, as well as another event, the IRCC, which is the Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada representatives that will be coming in on, I believe, February 15th. And that's also an event. Both of these companies are hiring. So if you guys want more information for that, you can definitely check out CLNX as well as our Instagram, UTM Career Center. Thank you so much.
Amazing, thank you. And I'm going to quickly pass the mic on to one of our wonderful partners, the Undergraduate Economics Council President, Khurshid Ferozman, to talk a little bit more.
Hi everyone, my name is Khurshid. I am a fourth year financial economics and statistics student at UTM. So lovely to see such a great panel here.
Hi everyone, my name is Manav. I'm in my fourth year as well, doing a marketing specialist with an economics major. I'm the co-president for the Undergraduate Economic Council.
So who we are, basically, we're a student-run organization that tries to represent all economic students at UTM at large. We hold a variety of events. We have hiring opportunities for you guys to help, build your skills, network with other members in the economics department and other departments at UTM. So if you want to make friends while growing your network, while building upon your skills, our organization is probably the place to go, in my biased opinion.
In addition to that, we also have lots of exciting events coming in. We have a lot of UEC members also in the crowd, so they can speak on behalf of that. But we do have panel discussions, ROP nights, and also a very big case competition. So super excited for this and super excited for the panel again. And thanks for showing up, everyone.
Perfect, thank you. And lastly, I'd like to give an honorary mention to the UTM Office of Advancement, who was also a great event partner in putting this event together today. They are attending virtually with our alumni. Now, without further ado, we'll move on to the part that you're all waiting for. I'm going to pass the stage over to my wonderful colleague, Suin Park from the Career Center, and she's going to take over.
Let me try this. Is that working? Okay, thank you. Okay, my name is Suin Park, one of the employment strategists at the UTM Career Center. Is it working? Yes. Actually, yeah, it is working. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so usually I'm so loud, that's why the volume was actually adjusted. And I'm working in Career Center for about 2 years already. And I previously worked in University of Toronto, St. George campus at Engineering Career Center, Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering, PUI co-op office for 11 years, and also not-for-profit organizations around 6.5 years. And, don't calculate my age. Anyways, long story short, I'm really enjoying here and looking at some of my students' faces here and enjoy your networking after the moderated panel discussion. So hopefully you can listen to our wonderful panelists' insights and expertise and their experiences today and keep in touch with them as well. Okay, so let's move on to the first panel question. It's going to be, not always alphabetical order, but I'm going to just ask Adam first. For the first questions are going to be, okay. So do we have an introduction for our panelists first? Okay, yes. Okay, we are going to introduce our panelists first from Adam and then, go on. Okay.
Yes. I'm going to introduce myself?
Yes.
Okay. Just checking. My name's Adam. I graduated 2007 from UTM. I did my degree in economics and political science. I think I had a pretty non-linear path in my career. I think when I was in school, I hated the thought of working in finance, and here I am, alas. I initially got into it by teaching piano, and that's what I mean to say by saying it was non-linear. I've worked at my firm for about 13 years, and before that I worked at a hedge fund for the initial 3 years. I did a couple of internships at the start of my career, and currently the firm that I work for is called Albourne Partners. We are a kind of UK-based consultancy that focuses on alternative assets. So it's like hedge funds, private equity, real estate, things like that. And effectively what we do is we sit between the end investor and the hedge fund, private equity fund, or real estate offering, and offer our opinion on whether we think it's good or not. So that's who I am, and that's what I do. And I guess I'll pass it on to Corine.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Corine, class of June 2014, double major economics and Italian studies. I know, a very interesting mix. It's interesting because I actually got into UTM for commerce. But after, some back and forth with Math 133, I had to quickly pivot. Let me put it that way. But, I loved my time at UTM. Similar to Adam, I don't have a linear path. As a matter of fact, I don't work in finance. I am a campus recruiter lead for North America, working for GHD, which is an engineering firm. And I think one of the things that kind of, sets me in this path was a lot of the things that I did on campus, actually. That's how I was able to, find my giftings and really carve out a unique path for myself, which, I look forward to sharing as we proceed. But I'm super happy to be here. Thank you so much for showing up, because, it's a big deal. And, looking forward to sharing with you guys.
Thank you. Ennio.
So hello, everyone. My name is Ennio Palombizio. I am a UTM class of 2007. I am a statistics specialist economics major, and I was half a credit short of getting that minor in math sciences, but I felt like going for my master's. Which I did get from U of T St. George campus in 2009. And similar to everybody else, I've been around. I've worked in banking. I've worked with BMO and CIBC. I've worked in the insurance industry. And now I find myself in the public service in the federal government. My substantive role is a manager of the Labor Market and Socioeconomic Information Directorate at Service Canada. I've recently taken on an assignment working at ISED, Science and Economic Development. And I'm working with the Minister, not directly, but under the Minister of Tourism. And it's been quite a journey, definitely quite a journey. And don't think that you have to follow one path. I think that's the key message. Don't think you have to follow one path and stick to that. There's the opportunities that economics in particular provides are pretty widespread. So I guess I'll save the rest for the questions, but
okay.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Joey.
Hey, everybody. My name is Joey. I graduated in 2011 with a double major in economics and psychology. Before I graduated, actually, I was the UTM Students Union president for that year in 2011. I was pretty involved in university, I have to say, and I'm a pretty big advocate of that. So the fact that you're here tonight means you also like to get involved. So that's great. Nice to see you. My career, I have about just a little bit over 10 years in risk management. I specialize in something called credit risk. That's essentially what I've been doing for after I graduated university. Although towards the second half of my career, I'd say I started looking towards more in data and analytics. So that's the kind of work that I'm doing today. So with the business background and some data and analytics experience, I guess I'd like to say that I ended up being a well-rounded professional individual in that sense. The other thing I was gonna mention was, where I work, sorry. I work for the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions, and that's quite a mouthful. So we just call it OSFI for short. It's a federal government agency, and we're actually the regulator of financial institutions in Canada. So that's banks, insurance companies, and pension plans. And I work on the banking side. So that's a little bit about me, and I'll save the rest for the questions.
Thank you. That's great. Yeah, Patricia, the last, not the least.
Hi, everyone. My name is Patricia. I graduated UTM in 2018, so fairly recently. I graduated with a specialist in accounting. So I was one of those commerce students, except math 1 through 3 was not that easy for me either, just barely scraped by. So accounting specialist, economics major. I'm a recent CPA as well. So I've been kind of here and there in terms of work, mostly in accounting though, just to get my CPA. And now I'm working in the home building industry as a senior financial analyst. And I guess the reason why I was invited today is to kind of share some experience right after graduation, as well as getting involved on campus. Huge advocate for that as well. Yeah, I'm excited to talk to all of you later on in networking. And I guess we'll get started with the panel.
Okay, thank you so much for all the beautiful introduction already. And some of you already got some insights already. So anyways, let's start from the beginning. I think I already introduced myself first before all the panelists. So some of you already know me, so I'm not going to talk about me too much. I'm just certified career development practitioner in Ontario, and I have been enjoying UTM Career Center really, really much, compared to St. George campus, believe me. And it is really an honor to do this panel discussion today and enjoy the networking and further. And also after the networking session, please send a thank you note to all the panelists and then do connect with them through LinkedIn and all that. Okay, so that's me. And let's start from the beginning, from Adam and Corine. I'm going to ask you the first job search tips question. And how did you prepare for your work life while you're in university? And what are the supports and resources that allowed you to transition into a competitive job market?
Absolutely. So like I mentioned, it was on campus that I was able to, find parts of me. And what I mean by that is, my giftings. So I was a work study student for the Department of Language Studies when I was on campus. And it's very interesting because I was always the person, gathering people to do things in the department. So mind you, I had no clue what recruitment was, because if I did, genuinely, I would have actually gone to study HR, like just off the bat. Right. So one of the ways that, like I said, I was able to prepare myself was to be very involved on campus. So, I was a work study student. I was part of the Christian Association on campus. Every time, especially in the Department of Language Studies, that there was something going on, I would reach out to the professor and say, hey, you know what? I live on campus. I'm available. Whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. I remember the last summer before I graduated, I think they were moving from one building to the other. And like my whole summer, I just helped them moving boxes from one place to the other. And that's how I was able to, be top of mind for my department, in my department. And, when I was applying for graduate school, like I literally got, the department, I don't know if he's still the chair now, but, like the chair then, he was one that wrote my letter of recommendation. Again, because I was very intentional about being a well-rounded student. And what I mean by that is just not focusing on my grade, which is important, don't get me wrong, but also making sure that I'm able to develop other sides of me. Because by the time you leave school and you enter into the job market, unless if you're going straight into economics, maybe becoming a professor or whatnot, but which, majority of us don't really have that path. We're really looking for transferable skills. And a lot of those transferable skills is which you get in class as well, but a lot of it outside of class.
Okay, wow. Thank you for the insights in a really short time. And that's so huge, powerful note. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to have to keep it tight. So how many of you guys are going to graduate with a degree at some point? Put your hands up. So the rest of you aren't going to graduate? Okay, I take it most people are going to graduate. So the way I'd approach it, if I were in your seat looking forward, would be to think, if I were putting my hand up, which I assume everyone is, everyone in this room is going to graduate with a degree. So what does that tell you? That's the level playing field. So you have to think to yourself, okay, what do I need to do to delineate or to separate myself from the guy sitting next to me, from Zach? Separate yourself from William over there. What you have to do is cultivate an extra layer of skills. And I mean, it's not necessarily needs to be something big, but just something that can go on your resume. So what could that be? So in my line of work, that could be doing your CFA or signing up for your CFA level 1 at some point. That's post degree, obviously. It could be getting a certification. So for example, in my line of work, knowing how to use a Bloomberg terminal, and it's something that you can do while you're here on campus. In fact, I did it myself. Taking a extra course to get skills in financial modeling, joining an investment club, doing just about anything extracurricular that gives you the ability to put something on your resume that separates you from the next person. Because if you approach it from the standpoint of an employer, the question is, what is it that you bring to the table that separates you? Probably most people in here have good marks. So, I mean, it's most people are smart. So you have to kind of think strategically as far as what is it that can separate you. And I probably don't know the answer as to what that is today. Maybe it's learning Python, things that I don't know. But at my point in time, it was a different set of circumstances. But taking that type of mindset is certainly very valuable. And time's up.
Oh, wow. That's amazing insight and sharing. Thank you so much for both of you. In terms of all the job search tips, you are already hired as I took my job as an employment strategist. Okay, next employment strategist. I'm going to ask a second question actually about networking. So when it comes to networking, I always feel negative connotation because of my cultural background from Asian background. And I thought it was negative, it's like connection or backdoor or something like that. But how has networking ever helped you in your job search or career development? And what advice would you give students who find networking challenging? Okay, I'm going to ask Ennio first and then Joy.
So I'm sure you're all looking for an answer, more of an answer than yes. Is networking important? Yes. Has networking helped me personally? Yes. Hey, you're all here to network, right? So it is very important. It is very important for multiple reasons. One, it's always good to make friends, or to know someone, to really know someone. And for me, networking is more than just looking at someone and saying, yeah, this person can help me get a job. No. It's important when you network, you're also getting to know that person, and they also get to know you. And then you both get to know the real person behind just, this is my degree. Oh, this is the company I work for, and this is the job that I have. So that's the first thing. The other thing about networking that is important is really understanding who you're talking to and making sure that you can, I guess this is similar to what I just said, where you want them to help you, but you also have to help them. And that's really, it's about making a relationship. Now, when it comes to people who find networking challenging, networking is similar to communication skills, making a presentation, being able to speak in public. I consider that similar. There's a group that helps with oral communications. It's called Toastmasters. They are excellent at developing communication skills. And if you're able to hone in on those communication skills, you will also be able to improve your networking capability.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much for your insights.
You took my answers, Ennio. Now I got to come up with new ones on the spot. Okay, so I'll start off with, I'm actually an introvert, and I had real challenges with networking, especially during university. You know, I was pretty shy to talk to recruiters, and, you know, whenever there's a big networking event, I'd kind of just like maybe not even line up to talk to the recruiters later. So I did find it really tough. My advice to folks who do find networking harder or maybe not even interested in it at all is go for meaningful, genuine relationships with people that interest you. Don't collect 100 business cards, collect 10 of them from people who you genuinely like, you're interested in their career paths, and just build a genuine relationship with that person. Because most people can kind of tell when when somebody approaches you because they want or need something from you, right? They want to, if you're thinking that this person's going to hook you up and I should get close to them, I would say that that's not the proper approach. You know, be genuine with yourself and what you're interested in. That way you're not wasting each other's time, right? And I know it can be tough, especially if, you know, you're not a people person or you're an introvert like me. I did have to overcome a lot of challenges in that sense, and that Toastmasters is an excellent suggestion to kind of building your communication skills in that way. The last thing I would say about this really is networking has helped me get my first job. When I graduated in 2011, the job market was pretty tough, and I actually didn't have a job for the first maybe 4 to 6 months. And my first job at a company called GE Capital was an internship. And I got it not because of the many job applications I applied to, but because I knew somebody at UTM who I studied with. He got a job there with an internship, and then he got a promotion. So he called me up and said, "Hey, you want to interview for this job that I'm leaving?" And that's how I got my career started. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for networking tips. And I should have known that better before. I should have met you before, actually. So research before networking, and you also have a meaningful connection. I'm learning so much today, and thank you so much for your meaningful insights. And let's ask some kind of skills-based questions to our Patricia and also Corine. Okay, so the next question is, what skills would make a recent graduate marketable in the field? And how important is it to be well-versed in tools such as data analysis or specific software? And also, you know, you can share your secrets. I mean, job search secrets, right? So please feel free to share. Patricia first.
Thank you. So I guess the first part of this question, what skills would make a recent graduate marketable? I guess I'll start with a little story. So Joey asked me actually how I got invited to this event. He asked me, am I super smart or super well connected? And I said neither. So the answer, to be honest with you, is I think being involved on campus and getting those soft skills is what really, really made me like competitive with the rest of the graduates in my group. So in accounting, everyone kind of has good grades. They have the internship lined up. They've done internships before, but for me, I had no internships. I was not good at networking. I'm an introvert. So it was kind of a terrible time for me, but I was working on campus as a work study, like Corine. I worked for the Department of Management. I worked off campus. I used to work at McDonald's and kind of worked my way up to manager role. Surprisingly, I think that's honestly what got me my first job like after graduating. So I think any kind of skill that you can put on your resume and that you can talk about in your interview is very, 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 very valuable. And that's what really helps you differentiate yourself with the rest of people graduating in your group. So I would say any experience is good experience, even if it's working at McDonald's, even if it's on council at UEC or any other kind of on-campus opportunity that's unpaid. I think all those are very, very critical in kind of making yourself marketable as a recent grad.
Thank you. Thank you.
So yes, what I'll say is for recent grad, so I'll speak to two different group of people. So if you know that you want to stay in finance, you want to stay in that path, make sure that you research the skill set that are critical to that industry, right? Because I don't want to give you a blanket statement, because some industries require those skill sets. So if you have clarity and you know what, I want to continue that path, do research, figure out what is critical for me to differentiate myself as I'm entering in that industry. Now, in addition to that, soft skills, like Patricia said, critical. Develop your leadership abilities, your ability to be adaptable, your ability to be flexible, because the job market has significantly changed. I mean, when I was graduating and now it's, like black and white, literally, right? So you want to make sure that you're nimble. When I'll talk about resumes, on your resume, make sure you highlight those skills, because mind you, you're not the only one. Like, I'm just thinking, how many economic students does U of T generate? Hundreds, right? So if you guys are all bargaining for that specific job, you want to make sure that when a recruiter is looking at your resume, I'm able to quickly spot the skills that I'm looking for. So make sure you bold stuff, right? Make sure, you play around with colors on your resumes. Make sure that, you use colors that are friendly to the brain, right? So don't just, don't be haphazard, right? Be strategic in the way you put your resume together. Just again, still on resume, make sure, like the grammar is correct. Like, yeah, it sounds very duh, but yeah, I have so many stories on that. And, like network. And what I mean by network, and they've said it so very well, be intentional about giving to people. Don't just go and take, because nobody likes that, right? So you have the mindset that I'm going to give, and then out of the overflow of that, that's when you'll be able that people pour into you. And like I said, that's exactly how I have lived my life and got into my career at this point.
Wow, that's amazing lesson. Give and take relationship, and also employer's perspective. You can always think about, our brilliant panelists sharing and insight, and think about those as a reflection point as well. Okay, so let's move on to industry trends question. And I'm going to ask Ennio and Adam different question. What are some current trends in your industry that job seekers should know about? And I added actually one more question personally. Is it really different from pre-pandemic and now? And what is really different from pre-pandemic and now is almost post-pandemic? A lot of people are not wearing masks, and I'm so curious about it. And yeah, please share your current trends. Yep.
Okay. That's okay, a few things on that. Maybe just quickly on the pre-pandemic, post-pandemic thing. I think pre-pandemic, there was like this normative expectation that you would go to work 5 days a week and do the job. And now people are like hybrid and work from home, work from anywhere, work from Mexico, whatever. That's all fine and good. But I think you got to think about, like, you guys are basically going to be fresh out of school. What is the one thing that you need? You need mentorship, and you need almost like an apprenticeship. I mean, I'm 15 or 16 years out of school, and I'm effectively in my role, I cover distressed credit hedge funds and long short credit hedge funds. And I still consider myself a mentor under someone who's significantly more experienced. So being able to sit next to someone who can teach you your craft is incredibly valuable. And I think it's one of the things that you should challenge in the post-pandemic world and be willing to actually go into an office for a job. So that's that question. The trends is that, kind of picking up from what Corine said, it's competitive. I am bearing the gift tonight of, I have brought with me job offers, or not job offers, open job hires for internships. We are hiring at my company 6 for the summer. And I'm sure I just made myself a target, but the point that I'm trying to make is one of the criteria employers are increasingly looking for are people with experience. Now, when I was in undergrad, I had the good fortune of meeting someone who actually offered me an internship. I had the misfortune of it occurring at 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. every day at a newsroom downtown at a business news network, and it was unpaid. It was unpaid, and I think people would say that's against the law, almost done. But it actually paid great dividends for me in my career growth. So,
wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, and precious gifts as well, and then take advantage of that chance as well. Okay, Ennio?
Well, I'm sorry, first of all, I don't have the same gifts that Adam has, so
Don't worry, no pressure, long term, okay?
I'll start with the current trend. So there's, first of all, I'll say there's a difference. There is a difference between the public sector and the private sector. But as much as there are differences, there are still similarities. And when it comes to the public sector and the current trends, I'm sure you've all heard in the news this, public service employees were the last ones to really get pushed back into the office, more or less. And that's the biggest change. The working hybrid or working remotely, or even managing hybrid and managing remotely. And managing may not just be from a managerial perspective, it's just managing a project, leading a project. And it's different. There's similarities, but there's differences that when you're not interacting with someone face to face, you don't get that opportunity to make that connection. And something else that the remote world, or that period, those 2-3 years that we've spent in isolation, let's call it, and then now we're getting back into these more face-to-face interactions. It almost seems as if people have lost practice or lost touch with that ability to communicate. And these might seem like different topics, and I'm just jumping back and forth between them, but they're all connected. And the key is the communication and being able to communicate with people face to face. And that's the biggest trend that I've noticed in the public service specifically, but it could apply across the board. And it also kind of answers the question of the biggest change pre-pandemic and post-pandemic.
Okay, thank you so much for your precious insights. And next, actually, I'm going to ask 2 industry trends question to Patricia and Joy, 2 introvert panelists, and you might be on target for what are some common entry-level job positions available to someone looking to get into your field, and what are the best ways to find them? And is there any further education or graduate studies required, or certain kind of designation? And Adam was mentioning about also certificates. So, please share with us if you have any specific requirements and postgraduate opportunities they might have to take, or preferred requirements. Yeah.
I guess for me, I was an accounting student, so the path was kind of clear based on what all my other friends were doing, and that is going to one of the big accounting firms to kind of finish off your CPA. In terms of entry level in general, I would say any kind of experience you can get your hands on is great. It doesn't necessarily have to be related to your major, which I assume is economics. I think anywhere you can get through the door, you take that opportunity and you make something out of it. And then in your next, big career jump, you can use those stories that you've learned and experiences that you've encountered to kind of do what you want to do, as well as do research on what you want to do. I think that will definitely help you in kind of reaching for what you want. And I guess in a field such as economics, I think it's quite broad. So you really need to know what you want in order to get it. Yeah, that's
okay. Beautiful. Thank you so much for your expertise. Yeah, Joey.
So in particular, where I'm working now, OSFI, it's highly encouraged to do something postgraduate. We usually hire directly from the industry. Generally, we're looking for at least 5 years in experience in either banking or insurance or pensions. But we also do, we have a co-op program, a pretty broad co-op program in which we will bring students in for internships. Generally, MBA students is what we recruit. It's a great way into OSFI. I wish I knew about it sooner. I would have done my MBA if that was the case. But yeah, generally we will hire students straight out of the MBA programs, those that have an interest in the federal government, as well as, of course, those who want to work in either banking, insurance, or pensions. Now, in terms of just getting into banking or to risk management in general, I echo similar things to what Patricia mentioned. At least from my personal experience, when I graduated or right before graduating, anything that had finance, banking, some kind of, business posting, I just applied to it. I wasn't 100% sure where I wanted to go with my career, even as I was graduating. So I really wanted to try different things. And I gravitated towards risk management in the end. And that's pretty much my story. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Wow, that's very brilliant. And I guess everybody, including me and all the panelists, we are all still career exploration mode, right? So you can always be open-minded in terms of your career path and career development. And we never know where the prospective employers are. And you can find even in this room, right? And next question is actually to Ennio and Corine. It's about final tips, but I'm gonna, if we have more time after sharing, then we can ask all the panelists about the final tips for sharing their insights. Is there any advice or special insight you would like to share with our students? Ennio first, and then Corine, and everybody else would like to share.
So I guess the song I've been singing throughout this whole thing, whenever I've had a chance to talk, is the importance of communication. And there are resources out there that will help you with your oral communication and written communication. And but your oral communication, your presentation skills I think are vital. So that's one thing. Work on, and I understand some people are extroverts, some people are introverts. Going to those resources like Toastmasters will really give you a leg up and will give you some vital tools to be able to improve your presentation skills, communication skills, and whatnot. Something I said when I was introducing myself that I'll come back to now is there is no one straight path. And I mean, for some people, hey, it worked out that way. But don't get it stuck in your head. Don't get that idea stuck in your head that it's not working out that way for me. I must be doing something wrong. No, as long as you're doing what's right for you, you're not doing anything wrong. As long you're exploring, this is a journey. It's a never-ending journey. try to think of yourselves as, don't think of yourselves as, oh, I'm done university, I'm done school, I'm done, I'm working, I'm no longer learning. No, always consider yourself to be a lifelong learner. That's a key phrase that you should always remember. You're always learning, you're on this journey, you're always exploring. You can jump around from one job to another. And like I said at the beginning, on my introduction page there, it says I'm a manager for this group in Service Canada. But I also said I've recently taken an assignment to try something new. And don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to move around. It's only going to benefit you in the long term, in your experience and that lifelong journey.
Very inspirational. Really inspirational. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to start with whatever your hands finds to do it well. Because, you're honing skills of excellence when you have that mindset, right? So don't minimize anything you're doing, because time will eventually, things will fall into place, but you will realize that everything that you have done is leading you to a very specific place. So nothing is haphazard, right? Like I told you, I was just, always putting people together to do things. Never knew that I would be in recruitment one day. And till today, I've done some courses in recruitment, but I don't have a degree in recruitment, right? But I've been able to take those skill set that just because whatever my hand found to do, I did it with all my heart. That's one. The second one is make sure you take stock of the things you're good at, especially for those that don't really know, like you're not sure if you really want to go into economics long run. Take stock of the things that you're good at. And then do research. Okay, with this skill set, what kind of career path can I pave myself into? Because like I said, a lot of, learning in school is learning how to think, right? Because if I'm just thinking my economics, I'm not really using economics in my work per se, but at least train me how to think. Because now if I don't know something, I know, okay, if I don't know, I do research, right? So make sure that you take stock of the things that you're good at, do research to figure out, okay, with these skill sets, which career path can I go into? So you don't box yourself and feel like, everybody around me is, either going to the big four and you're not. Like, no, everybody's path is very, very different. So that's why you need to know what you're good at, stay in your line of your strengths, and then make sure that the weakness that could potentially affect your strength, you try and minimize it as much as possible, minimize the impacts of them. And I have no doubt you guys have great destiny. So
beautiful. Thank you so much for all your insights and very inspirational tips. And is there anybody else who wants to share final tips? 2 more minutes. Yes, Joey.
I just want to say I'm so glad you said that, Corine, because she's right about you don't concern yourself about what other people are doing after graduating, before graduating, because you got to set your own destiny. And don't sell yourself short. I always tell my co-op students who I work with now, one day I'm probably going to work for you. So always aim high, believe in yourself. You can do it. I work with people. I'm blessed because I work with people who are a lot smarter than me, and I make sure to tell them that.
Wow, no, Joey, that's so sweet. And yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. Adam, 1 more minute. Yeah.
Okay. I've just been jotting random thoughts down as we've been talking. Evidently, I was very well prepared for this. Read the paper, basic. And there's no paper per se anymore. It's probably like a reputable news site. $9, actually, you know what? Probably $6 a month or $4 for a New York Times subscription. You guys are all economics students. The Financial Times, probably one of the best publications you can read to stay abreast of things happening in the economy. Think about things over the longer term that you probably want to make yourself into a specialist. The more you are knowledgeable in an area, especially considering we sort of work in a knowledge economy, the more valuable you will become to an employer. So that's something to kind of think about longer term. mind frame of kind of like, I think this has been well trodden, but you're not going to necessarily know or have it perfect straight away. So be curious, be open to explore, and more importantly, be willing to be like humble. Like you're not going to be a senior person in your organization coming straight out of school. You got to kind of do the things that you might have thought that you might be above. So you got to approach it with a lot of humility and a very, conscious go-getter work ethic. So that's random tidbits.
Wow, that's amazing tips. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your final tips and beautiful tips. And it's really inspirational. And actually, they got my job, employment strategies already there. So thank you so much for your expertise and open-mindedness. And also, we learned a lot of tips. So hopefully you actually take a little bit of note in your mind and reflect at home tonight and do follow up with all of us, okay? All of panelists. And thank you. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Suin, and a huge thank you to all the panelists. You've had some great answers and thank you for your insights. We're going to open up the room to audience questions now. So if you have a question for the panelists, there are two people kind of roaming around with mics. So please feel free to raise your hand and I will pass one to you.
Hello, all the panelists. And everyone, my name is William. I'm second year accounting student, like same as the Patricia, right? Oh yeah, and I have a question for I think Adam, right? And what's your name? I can't see it.
Ennio.
Ennio. Yeah, I have some question about networking. I used to be a really shy person as well when I was in kindergarten and elementary school, but slowly I get more outgoing. So started in grade 7, I started networking people. Also, I love singing. So, in high school, I remember once I was on stage, I was talking to the audience. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad I was singing a song because it was all dark. I couldn't see any audience. I was singing, really, yeah. But I still have some questions because, although I love networking, but sometimes my strategy of networking that backfires. Like sometimes I go too crazy because I was being too outgoing sometimes. Like the girls would get scared. Oh, the guy, that's the monster. He's harassing me. He's following me. So they were like, hey, I'm gonna call the police, something like that.
Yeah, that's not that.
And oh, I'm not. I was just being too outgoing. Like I remember also when I was in grade 2, there was a stupid story. I wrote a letter to a girl. I wrote the first sentence was, hey, hi, I want to marry you. And I want to protect you something. So the girl tears the letter into pieces. I remember. So, okay, back to the topic. So my question is, how do I network in a proper way? Because sometimes, yeah, I feel like my strategy, sometimes it works. I got lots of friends, but sometimes it backfires. Like, and the girl even got scared. They run away from me. So, okay, how do I?
You know what? Here's how I think about it. And I mean, I think this is picking up on something Corine said, so forgive me. But I think networking, maybe it's best to think about it as a byproduct. Because networking itself is a little bit tainted with the, shake your hand, get your business cards, and there's not much substance to it. I would approach it like this. What do you like to do, William, that involves people?
For me, I'm not sure here.
Just a quick answer.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna be teacher because my mom is a teacher as well.
Okay, okay. How about maybe I'll put the answer for you. Let's say you like playing golf, or you like playing basketball. Join the basketball league at UTM here, and you're gonna make a bunch of friends. So, for example, I joined the rowing team. Guess what? A bunch of my friends on the rowing team, one of them helped me get an interview at RBC at a certain point. And again, it was kind of a byproduct of the fact that we shared a hobby together. We got to know each other. We trusted each other. We liked each other. And that's kind of how that connection came about. And I could say the same thing for a litany of other things that I got myself involved in. I got myself involved in a community group. I did Toastmasters, where I met my first girlfriend, actually. So you might get more than you bargained for with the ladies there. You could get involved in, I mean, volunteering, like any number of things, sports, and you're going to meet people, and these are going to be like genuine friendships, and you are going to help each other. And that's kind of the path as I see it.
Thank you so much, Adam. And can I also ask another question?
Yeah.
I already asked you, I think, of the same thing, like about networking, because I heard you talk about networking with Joey, right? Okay, yeah, Joey. So, okay. Actually, let me ask, I will give more chance to other students. So I want to ask one last question to Patricia. How do I actually get CPA quickly? Because I'm accounting too, but my dad is forcing me to get it every day. He's putting too much stress on me. I got scared. What can I do?
Well, I think you can kind of tell him that the process is pretty structured and you won't be able to get started in second year. So I would say for now, focus on your studies in university. And as you graduate, that CPA process kind of starts. So you won't really be able to fast track it in any way or take any shortcuts, unfortunately. So tell him to calm down a little bit and you'll get to it in about 3 years.
He's really strict. Right, thank you.
Hello, my name is Taras. I'm third-year finance and economics student. First of all, thank you for all the insights you gave today. So the question I wanted to ask the most also kind of about networking. A couple of you mentioned today that this is a two-way stream that we don't just take from you, we also give. So my question is like, if I stand in front of you and you have 10 years of experience in your field, like what is it that I can really give to you when I network to you? How can I make it a two-way stream?
I mean, straight away, I can tell you there are skill sets that you have that I don't have. I'm not very good at Excel, and I have a lot of data for my job that I need to process. I could probably teach you certain things about whatever, what I do, and I'm sure you could help me solve problems that just because you're younger doesn't mean that you don't bring anything to the table. I think you're mistaken to think that way. You just need to think about it creatively in terms of, well, what advantages might I have that this person that I'm dealing with doesn't have? Maybe that's a way to think about it.
And I'll just add that what Adam said is absolutely correct. And what may help you is just to sit down, whether you're on your laptop or you've got a pad of paper and a pen or whatever it may be, and just start writing out what you have to offer. Really think about your own skills. And these skills might come from the most unexpected things. And this kind of addresses William's question as well about networking and how do I maybe I'm going too far. Sitting down and writing things out and thinking of it very strategically. I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do that. And I know we're talking about the key to networking being establishing a relationship, but being able to, I don't want to say script, but that's the wrong word, but it'll help get your ideas clear in your head. So write out your skills, write out the various experiences you've had, write out what you've done in the courses that you've taken, even, write out what you do when you're doing your hobbies that you like to do. Write them out and you'll see that those will all translate into skills that you have to offer. Yeah, go ahead.
If I may add to that, be patient. Yeah. Like, be patient. It's not overnight, right? Because I keep hearing, you want to have it fast. No, that's not what works, right? You have to be patient. Like, we keep talking about building relationship. You don't build relationship overnight. Nobody does that, right? So there's that element of patience, which I understand, especially in our time right now. Like, everybody wants like whatever yesterday. Right? But no, it doesn't work like that, because I'll tell you, it's very easy to spot somebody that's just out there to use you. Like, it's very, very easy. And nobody wants that. Nobody, like, you won't get remembered by always asking and taking. You get remembered by always giving. So Taras, to your example, it could just be, you know what, I love the work, I love the job, I love what you're working on. How can I be a part of it? How can I support? Right? So because at that point now I'm thinking, okay, like you're interested in what I am interested. So you want to give back to me. And then out of that overflow, later I could tell you know what, Tara's like, I love the work, you just took on this work, you've just been doing it. Where are you with your career? I just want to know more. And you know what, from that conversation, it strikes something else. Then you say, let's say, for example, you say, you know what, I want to go into RBC. I really love the work they're doing. You know what, I have a friend at RBC. Maybe I should connect you. And that's how it works. But it's not overnight. So have at the back of your mind that you gotta be patient. Like it's not gonna happen. Don't get me wrong. For some people, it does, but the principle is the same, right? Because principle don't respect people. If you apply the principle, either you're black, blue, pink, or yellow, it's gonna work. And the principle for a relationship is what? Is patience. So you gotta be patient.
I'll just add really quickly here. Leaders are always looking for talented people to bring on. And these are people not just they want on their team, but people they can trust to do a job and do it well. So those are the kind of things you can do for me. In my line of work, chief risk officers always bring their VPs with them to whichever companies they go. And that's because these are people they trust and they could be significantly younger than them in both experience and in age. But that's essentially what experienced people are looking for, those who may not be as experienced.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, everyone. Thank you. We have time for one more question. Does anyone have, I saw your hand up first, so we're going to.
Thanks for all the answers. It was really insightful, everyone. So my question is basically based on skills, because there have been a lot of layoffs. There have been a lot of tech layoffs also. Other industries, FMCGs, there have been huge amount of layoffs. How do you actually make yourself stay relevant in an age post-pandemic where, things are changing, the landscape of digitalization has come into place? What are those 3-4 soft skills that you folks would emphasize on?
Start. So with regards to what is relevant, make sure that you stay abreast of what is happening in your industry, right? Because like you very well mentioned, things are changing and things are changing very fast. So you want to make sure that you have your ears, in the market of that that industry, to make sure that you're always positioning yourself in the right place, right? And also do a lot of self-learning as well, right? So don't just when you take on a job, try and obviously be good at the job that they hire you for, because that's why you're there. But also look for other ways where you can maybe, support another project, because you never know, that might spark an interest that you never knew you had, right? And that is one of the ways that you can stay relevant in that company. Now, another thing as well is likability. Like, to be very honest, a lot of people get promoted just because whoever the decision maker is likes them. So be pleasant, right? Like, I know you won't hear that, but be pleasant. Make sure that, when your name comes up in conversation, nobody's twisting their face and thinking, ugh, that person is very hard to work with, right? Because those are the realities of the corporate world, right? So, and this is not to say, try and be weirdly strategic and try and look out for, okay, who is the decision maker, how do I position myself? That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is, you as a person, right, make sure that you have those core values that promote likability, right? Because again, beyond your skill set, because I'm just going to take an analyst. There might be many analysts in the company and they're all doing the same job, but what might differentiate you for a promotion beyond the fact that, all of you guys are operating at par in the level of excellence, the fact that, you're pleasant to work with. Like, you don't give me a headache, right? So yeah, it's just facts, right?
I just want to call that out, because I think that is one of the most underrated pieces of advice that you probably would have gotten all night right here. So that don't overlook that. The likability, unfortunately, or fortunately, if you have a bad personality, you should fix it. I'm kidding. But truly, I remember one of my friends in undergrad, he said to me, get out, there's a book called Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. You should probably read it. And I did, and it actually helped. And, it helped me do that. I know you asked about soft skills, but it just occurred to me, we were talking about skills. And I mean, the soft skills, they're not taught in university. And it's incumbent on everybody to figure out how to do this. So, Toastmasters was offered up, amazing resource. Fixing your personality if no one likes you, is also essential. And being able to communicate at a verbal and a written level are hugely important. So just being a good student, unfortunately, doesn't cut it. But when it comes to harder skill sets, here's what I would encourage you to do. And it's super simple. If there's a line of work that you're interested in, look at a sample of job descriptions and look at them in reverse. Look at the back and look at the skills that they ask of you and look at it for tons and tons and tons of them and start to use your statistics 133 or whatever everyone was talking about, kind of regression line, and figure out what are the trend lines that are forming. And if every one of them says you need Python, or every one of them says you need a good understanding of databases or whatever, get those skills, because there's more resources than ever that you can do self-guided learning online and become a pretty valuable resource unto yourself on your own.
Sorry, if you would just permit me, another one just came. Emotional intelligence is very big. And how you build that is group work. I'm sure you're thinking, how do I build that on campus? But group work, being on being in associations or group on campus helps build that. So what is emotional and intelligent? It's just the ability to read the room and know what to do, right? Which you will be surprised. A lot of people don't know how to do that, right? But then one thing that I've realized that the higher you go, that becomes even more important, because that is what will help you to differentiate if that nasty email you got, you should respond with an email or with a call, right? So it's very important. So don't shy away from group work. When you guys are working in groups, don't be that person that slacks, no, right? Make sure that you always, come with your best. And I'm not saying you have to know everything. I don't even know everything. To be very honest, I love having really smart people on my team because they help me, right? So this is not to say, you have to know everything, but be humble enough, like Adam said, to say, hey guys, I don't know how to work this. I might need a bit of help. And, really, really don't shy away from group work. Make sure you develop your emotional intelligence, because the higher you will progress in your career, that becomes even way more important than if you know how to, do a regression or whatever you guys do in economics, right? So yeah, so please make sure you do that.
Just quickly want to add one last piece. Seek out a mentor if you have to. Seek out somebody you respect, whose opinion you respect, who you find is open to listening to you, and you are open definitely to listening to them, and they will tell you their experiences, and that will help you develop emotional intelligence. That will help you how to win friends, how to become more likable. They'll tell you their journey, their path, and maybe that's the same path you want to take. Or if you want to take a different path, maybe they'll have those nuggets of advice for you that will help you take your own path. Seeking out a mentor is an invaluable piece of advice that, I think I wish I had done that in a more formal sense sooner, without realizing I had done it very informally, by talking to my professors, by asking them about extra research that they're doing. I ended up co-authoring a paper with one of my former professors because I would talk to him on a regular basis, and not just about school or work or whatever, but then it helped me build a relationship. And this is somebody that I keep in touch with to this day.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, everyone. Those were some great questions and some really great gems in there in the answers. So we're going to be moving on to the most anticipated part of the night, which is open networking. Before we do, I just want to let you all know that if you are going to be standing, some of you may or some of you may not, just please make sure to push the chairs in the table so that there's more room to walk around. There's also a feedback form at the back of the handout that you have, but you do have about 40 minutes to chat, and then we'll be closing off later tonight. With that, I'm going to let the panelists go ahead and join the tables or go talk to the students. Thank you.